So I wanted to see, like, in the extreme, could ChatGPT be used to do like the entire scientific process? So, you know, the goal of this project was first to like use AI to accelerate science and try and make it into a scientist itself. And the second part is like, can an AI generate more reproducible scientific methods than maybe a human can? And what is sort of the interaction of this if empirical data is needed during a scientific experiment? What does the interface between a scientist and an AI and empirical data look like? So the most, so many people are familiar with the scientific method. You have a scientific question, you do some research, you generate a hypothesis, you have an experiment in methods, you do the analysis, and you do the conclusion. So we first started off with what are the main fields of science. We just wanted to get a general scope of what are the main areas. And then we asked it to come up with, for each of these areas of physics, chemistry, to come up with a scientific research question that's with respect to baking soda and vinegar volcano. So the next step was to generate a hypothesis for each of these different questions that it had generated. So ChatGPT was able to do that. And we went with the chemistry one. So we wanted to explore the acidity levels of vinegar, how will they affect the chemical reaction between baking soda and vinegar? And do higher acidity levels result in a stronger and faster eruption? So we asked it to develop a method to do it. So it said, it came up with these, to test this hypothesis, gather the materials, prepare the volcano, measure the acidity levels, prepare the volcano mixture, test the different acidity levels, analyze the data, record the observed observation, and do the conclusion. So we asked it to then create a form that could be used for anyone around the world to be able to fill this out. So it created this method, so we wanted to do this like decentralized experimentation using ChatGPT. And so it came up with, first you need to measure the acidity levels of the experiment. We need to look at the ratio of each of these things. So those are the 10 questions that someone would have to fill out on a survey. Then I created this thing called DBDAO, and DBDAO requires a schema to be used to collect this data set. So I gave it an example on the right-hand side of what DBDAO requires as its schema, and then asked it to conform the reaction experiment here in the survey to the JSON object that DBDAO requires, and it just popped that out right immediately and was able to do that. And then I just copy and pasted sort of that code into our API, and it was able to create this like form that people could fill out on the chemical reaction of baking soda and vinegar in the volcano experiment. So now we have this sort of like methods and experiment thing that anyone can fill out. So we actually did conduct the experiment. So we got the baking soda and did this aluminum foil. And then very quick, some baking in it. It worked. And then from the results of that, we filled out the survey here of the acidity level, the ratio of baking soda to water, how was the strength of the eruption, how long did it last for, would we recommend this to a friend? These are all the things that it came up with. It added it to the row. And what's cool is this row is an NFT actually, so people can purchase this individual data point on OpenSea if they're interested, or IPFS, or they can see the transaction of that data point on Arbitrum. This is all done with DBDAO. And then we exported that one row from DBDAO back into ChatGPT to do analysis on it. And then we asked it to write a research report on the vinegar volcano, and it wrote up the entire report based on the one data point. We also, if anyone's in New York, we host a DeSci meetup once a month, and you can find out more about it here.